pronouns. What can we say about pronouns? Kat ima frapo walenga tikame yenowot Ayngaru lufpomsrak zula uniperte utetoret auniperte waya mipa sänumvi teri Lektion. Pronoun is a simple word that stands in for either another noun or a name. So for example, I is a pronoun, you is a pronoun, he, she, it are all pronouns. And they have quite the same function in Navi than they have in English or other languages. They stand in for a name, a noun, that you don't have to repeat those words over and over again. Navi has the same distinctions, and the basic forms of these are just the words I, you, and he and she. So oe, nga, and po. And Navi builds on those base words to form all the other forms. But since Navi distinguishes also between 3 different kinds of plurals, so 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, and more than 3 of a kind, the pronouns for this reason can be a little bit daunting. Let's first speak about po a little bit, because I use it and we use it to mean he or she, depending on the context. There are 2 other forms that you can use if you don't want to be that general and if you don't rely on the context being clear. So if you want to be specific, you can use the form poe for she and poan for he. Personally, I like to use the form po over the other 2 forms because most of the time I think it is clear from context, and if it's not, it will get clear during the conversation. The pronouns are then used like simple nouns in that they take the prefixes to form another set of pronouns. I know the amount of pronouns that exists in Navi simply because of the plural prefixes can be a little bit daunting. So we go through them one at a time, all right? Me melts with oe to moe, which means us too. And we get to the distinctions in a moment. The next forms are pretty straightforward. Menga means you two. Mefo is the 2 of them. Remember that the plural prefixes cause lenition, so the sound change from po to mefo. The forms for 3, oe for us 3, enga for you 3, and efo for the 3 of them. And the forms for more than 3, ayoe for we all, Aynga for you all, and aifo or simply fo for they. Those are the simple base forms of the pronouns. But Navi has something else for us in store. When we think of the we forms, we can mean different things. It can mean we all, or it can mean we, which is just me and 2 or 3 or more other people, but not you who I'm talking to. So Navi can distinguish between those inclusive forms and exclusive forms. How is this done? The forms that we've talked up to now are the exclusive forms, because I'm not including the listener, in this case you, into what I'm saying. So moe is us two, me and somebody else, but not you who's listening to this. Oe is us 3, me and 2 others, but not you who's listening to it. Ayoe is me and more than 3 others, but not you who's listening to it. I hope that gets clear. If I want to include you in the we, then I add an ng to the exclusive forms. Ng is for nga, for you. And those forms are oeng, us two, you and me. Oeng, we three, including you who's listening to this. And ayoeng, we all, including you who's listening to this. So you have to be a little bit careful who you are including in the things you are saying. In those cases, Navi can be very specific. It starts when you enter a room and you see two people. You will not say well angati kame or well ngati kame, but you will say well mengati kame because there are two other people in the room. Ayoing is also special because it has three different forms to pronounce it. You can say ayoeng, you can shorten that a little bit and it sounds like aiweng, but there is another form which is aonga, and there you see that the nga comes through. If this is already a lot to take in for you, please rewind, watch it again, and just memorize one at a time. If you think about it, it is quite logical. The base forms are just oe, nga, and po, and every other form is based on these basic forms. But that's not all, because as we've learned, Navi not only uses these base forms, but it attaches also endings on these base forms to make roles within the sentence clear. So we have the L&T endings, we have the ru ending, and we have the ä ending. And we had examples of those in the other lessons. So please consult the lessons on the genitive and on the dative forms and on the L&T endings, all right? There's one thing I want to add about the pronunciation of oe, because that can sometimes behave a little bit strange. You might have noticed that I'm usually not saying oel aingati kame, but I say well aingati kame. Why is that? Because usually when an ending is added to oe, it turns into something that sounds like we, as if it would be written we. But that only happens in the forms of oe as a single personal pronoun, in oeng, us two, you and me, in ayoe and aiweng. So if you're entering a room and me and a bunch of other people are already there, I'd say aiwel ngati tsea, we all see you. And the reverse of that would be aiweti ngal tsea, you see us all. And that is still not all with the first person pronoun, because the inclusive forms, the one with the ng at the end, are also a little bit odd when an ending is attached to them, because the a from nga appears again when an ending is attached. So it's not wengil potitsea, we too see him or her, but it's wengal potitsea. And this continues with every inclusive forms. Oengal, oengati, oengaru, aiwengal, aiwengati, aiwengaru. Especially with the we all form, aiweng. This is the reason why I prefer the form aonga, because there the a is already present. So especially with the L ending, you are not tempted to use the il form, but you always use the simple l form for aongal. It's a simple reason of convenience. And we are still not done, because as in English, there are other pronouns, or at least other words that can be used as pronouns. For example, there's the unspecific fko that we can translate as one or an impersonal you. For example, in the sentence fiapifko siaongar, how does one call you? There's frappo that I use every time I greet you all. Kaltema frappo, hello everyone. It behaves the same as po. And you might have noticed that in this pronoun paradigm there is no specific it. That's because Navi is again very specific when it comes to this it. If this it is a thing, then the form is either feu or tsa'u, just simply this thing or that thing. But if this thing is an action, it is fekem or tsakem for this or that action. So these words stand in where English would just use it, that, or this. And if you think that was all, I'm sorry to say you're still mistaken, because there are special forms when you speak in a ceremonial or honorific form, but since you don't use them so often, we'll leave it at that. I know that was a lot to take in, but I hope it was useful. I hope it will help you in your studying of the language. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you have questions or suggestions for future videos, please leave a comment. Subscribe if you're new, and hopefully we'll see each other next time. Hier, Ayngaru über aylì'u. At the end of the video, I just want to tell you again, please don't be discouraged by the sheer number of pronouns they exist. Just look at them and try to get the logic behind this paradigm. And with time, with practice, with conversation, you will get more comfortable and more at ease in using the right pronouns for the right situation. Okay? You can do this. I know it. Have the confidence to use them, and also have the confidence to know that you will make mistakes using the language. That's absolutely normal and a normal process. Don't be discouraged. Okay? Neue eko tik eisiko ulte numeko.